Daniel had barely slept the night before. His mother, Maria, had been admitted to the hospital after collapsing at home, and the doctors still didn't know what caused her sudden weakness. As her only son, Daniel had promised he would stay with her every moment he could. But his boss had called him unexpectedly that morning, forcing him to leave the hospital earlier than he wanted. His wife Clara had insisted she would stay with Maria. "Don't worry, Daniel," she had smiled. "Your mom will be safe with me." But something about her tone had made Daniel uneasy. It was nearly noon when Daniel returned to the hospital earlier than Clara expected. The hallway outside his mother's room was quiet, sunlight stretching across the white floors. As he approached the door, he heard muffled voices. One of them was Clara's. She didn't sound caring. She sounded annoyed. "How long is she going to drag this out?" Clara muttered sharply. "I've been sitting here all morning." Daniel froze. His heart thudded. Drag this out? She was talking about his mother, who could barely sit up without help. He took a step closer, pressing himself against the cold wall. A nurse spoke softly. "Mrs. Clara, she needs her medication right now. You were supposed to call us when she woke up." "I forgot," Clara snapped. "I'm not a nurse, and she's been complaining nonstop. I needed a break." Daniel's eyes widened. Forgot? His mother's medication was time-critical. The doctor had repeated that more than once. He stepped forward and pushed open the door quietly. Clara shot up from her chair, startled. "Daniel, you're back early." Maria, pale and trembling, lay small on the hospital bed. Her breathing was uneven, her eyes glassy. "Mom?" Daniel rushed to her side. "Did you get your morning meds?" Maria shook her head weakly. "No. I waited." Clara said she would call the nurse. Daniel turned to his wife. "Why didn't you call them?" Clara swallowed, her eyes shifting nervously. I told you she was sleeping. I didn't want to bother the nurses." "That's not what I heard," Daniel said, his voice low and controlled. "You put her in danger." The beeping of the monitor grew louder, echoing the rising tension. And for the first time, Daniel began to question something he never thought he would. Was his wife truly caring for his mother or slowly harming her? James stood frozen outside the hospital room, his breath caught somewhere between fear and disbelief. Through the small glass window, he watched his wife Clara leaning over his mother's bed with an expression he couldn't quite read. It wasn't tenderness, it wasn't concern, it was irritation, even anger. He pushed open the door quietly. Clara's head snapped up. "James, you're back early." His mother, Eleanor, lying weak but conscious, looked between them nervously. She tried to smile, but it collapsed into a wince of pain. "I forgot my wallet," James lied. He stepped closer to the bed. "Everything okay here?" Clara brushed her hair behind her ear a little too sharply. "Your mother is being difficult," she said with a strained tone. "She keeps insisting the nurse gave her the wrong medication. She's confused." Eleanor's fingers trembled as she clutched the blanket. "I know what they gave me," she whispered. "This isn't it." Clara's jaw tightened. "She's hallucinating again, James. The doctor said—" "No, he didn't," James cut in, his voice firmer than he expected. "He never said she was hallucinating." A flicker of annoyance passed through Clara's eyes before she plastered on a smile. "I'm trying to help," she said sweetly, "but she's making it impossible." James looked down at the bedside tray. The pill cup was still half full. A tablet lay slightly melted as if it had been handled too long. He picked it up. "This isn't her prescription," he said quietly. Clara's pulse visibly jumped. "It's a temporary substitute," she replied quickly. "Pharmacy issue." James didn't speak. His instincts, sharpened by a lifetime of watching over his mother, were screaming. He placed the pill back on the tray and gently adjusted Eleanor's blanket. "Mom," he said softly, "did Clara give you this?" Eleanor looked terrified. "She tried," she admitted, her voice a rasp. "I told her no. It makes my heart race." James turned slowly to his wife. Clara's expression hardened, the mask slipping. "I was just trying to calm her down. She's been anxious all morning." "But this pill would do the opposite," James said, his voice low and tense. "Why would you give it to her?" The room fell silent. Clara's breathing grew uneven. And then she said something that sent a chill through his entire body. "Because your mother is becoming a problem, James." He stared at her, unable to move. "What did you just say?" he whispered. Clara didn't answer. She didn't need to. Everything suddenly made sense, the coldness, the tension, the rushed explanations. His mother wasn't safe. Daniel sprinted down the hospital corridor, his breath uneven and his heart pounding so loudly it echoed in his ears. He could still hear the nurse's voice on the phone. "Sir, something is wrong in your mother's room. You might want to come now." Those words had ripped through him like a blade. He didn't bother knocking. He pushed open the door to his mother's private room and froze. His mother lay helpless in her bed, her oxygen tube disconnected, her pulse alarm flashing angrily on the screen. And standing beside her, pale and trembling, was his wife, Sophia. She had a pair of gloves on. Her hands hovered over the equipment like she had been caught mid-action. "Sophia?" Daniel's voice cracked. "What are you doing?" Sophia jerked back, eyes wide. "Daniel, I can explain." "Explain what?" he demanded, rushing to reconnect the oxygen tube while checking his mother's pulse. Relief washed over him when he saw it stabilizing. "You could have killed her." Tears welled in Sophia's eyes, but they weren't the tears of guilt. They were the tears of someone cornered. "Daniel, listen. Your mother hates me. She was trying to turn you against me. She was poisoning our marriage." Daniel stepped back, stunned. "That's your reason for risking her life, Sophia? She's sick. She needs care, not cruelty." Sophia clenched her fists. "You don't understand. If your mother stays with us, we'll never have peace. She wants everything her way. Always. If she wasn't here." Daniel cut her off sharply. "Stop, just stop." He felt a cold chill crawl through him as he realized the truth. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a misunderstanding. Sophia had intentionally tampered with the equipment. The nurse's suspicion had saved his mother's life. As the reality settled deeper, Sophia's expression shifted, the panic in her eyes replaced by a strange, defiant calm. "You weren't supposed to see this," she whispered. Daniel's jaw tightened. "I'm calling security." But before he moved, Sophia lunged forward, grabbing his arm. "Daniel, think. If you report me, our marriage will be over. Our reputation—" "Our reputation?" Daniel's voice thundered. "You almost murdered my mother." At that moment, the head nurse entered with 2 security guards. Sophia stepped back, trembling as they approached her. Daniel stood by his mother's bedside, protective, furious, heartbroken. "Take her out," he said quietly. As Sophia was escorted away, his mother opened her weak eyes, whispering, "I knew you'd come back, son."